I know I have to start posting more, and I know I have to start talking more and doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, doing this once a week is already all the talking I want to do. You know what? Because I don't see it that way. Like, I get that if someone hires us or invests in something we're doing or whatever it is, I realize that it's because of me, partially at least. If they don't believe in me, they're not writing a check. They're just not. Like, I get that part. So I understand that part. But it's different as an artist, I think. And whether it's an artist like you are, even a musician or an actor, like, it's different, right?
Welcome to this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta with Steph and Jay. And this week, our topic is building in public. Is it brave or broken? So, interesting title. And certainly, I look forward to this conversation.
It is interesting when you think about it, because some people do it in public. Like they just do it. They just go out there and they just do it, and they're themselves and all that sort of stuff. And then there's people that do it totally in private, which is more like me. But it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's an interesting topic because I think, look, in the world that I mean, okay, we're in the same worlds together, but like in my, let's say, day-to-day world, I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs, people that are building companies, people that are trying to find their voice, trying to market themselves, all that stuff, plus content creators and filmmakers and musicians and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I'm talking just purely day-to-day, not all the crossover stuff that we do, right? Like if you had to separate it. Your art primarily fashion design, and then adjacent to that there's the content creators and all that kind of stuff that have come into our worlds, including family members. And so we start to see their worlds and how they do it and how they navigate it. And it's an interesting, I think it's one of those questions that is asked often, and we hear about this, like, be vulnerable, or you're being too vulnerable, whatever. Like, are people like fixing themselves, or are they working things out publicly as they're building? I it's a question, right? Like, it's a question. I have many questions. I have many questions here, but
yeah,
that's an interesting question, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, from my own experience, sharing it with all of the world, for actually a very long time, like as soon as Facebook, it was 2008 when I got on social media. It was also the year I got separated and divorced. So my story, getting on social media initially, because it wasn't a business thing initially. It was more of a social thing for young people, college people. And not that I was college age, but I was in this single world again, which was kind of just out of my college age. So it was kind of like this weird time for me where I was really getting on social media to get out back in the world of being single again, living in a suburb. So for me, it was trying to navigate trying to get out in the world, even though I was at home with my children. They were in grade school at that point, so they weren't little, but like, how do you get back out in the world when you go from being with someone for 20 years to being single in a small town now? Because I met my husband at the time in New York City, actually. So that's how my whole initial entree into social media began. And I was kind of in the spotlight of a small town in terms of Facebook being kind of new, and then Instagram. And I went from being a married person to a single person, and all this happening in a small town. So as you can imagine, there there was a lot of
You had a lot of pushback, didn't you?
I had a lot of pushback from a lot of people. And then when I started dating, and of course that was part of my social media because I'm a very open person. So like I wasn't thinking about it for my business, even though I evolved an art site because I was an interior designer and a painter. So I started kind of doing all this stuff really early before people were looking at it as a legitimate way to get out and share what you do in terms of your business and your professional life.
You were thinking of it in a marketing way even before people were thinking of it as a marketing way.
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I got so
head
much
of the curve. Head of the curve.
But I got so much pushback, that whole until like the masses got into it, I got so much pushback. So it really did shape a little bit, it made me a little defensive after a while, quite frankly. And I think it definitely affected how I used it, to a degree. It's not like I didn't use it. I definitely pulled back. I definitely pulled back.
So pulled back.
I pulled back eventually because of the pushback. And so
that's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. Don't pull back because of the pushback. And I could do a jingle. I could definitely do a jingle on that. Oh shit! You are so lucky you're not here.
Do you want to do a jingle?
Oh, I'm going to jingle that tonight. I'm going to jingle that tonight. This is not for public. See, I don't do this stuff in public.
You do. You're just not the one doing it. Because...
I'm doing it in public. Between you and me is not considered public. It's
I know,
private.
But when I share it, when I start to videotape the two of us.
Okay, well that's
they've been popular posts. I have to tell you.
I have to check that I've signed all the disclaimers because I'm not sure that that's legal. So, but anyway, I've
had private messages from people saying, "Do more of the Jay and Steph funny stuff."
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Anyway, moving on. But you did, right? Like I think that's the tricky part, right? So like
it is.
People are like, okay, I have something I'm working on, and so I'm gonna put it out there, and then they get some comments. And then there's people who are like, screw that, I'm still going. And then there's like, it's hard to not hear all of them. It's hard to not hear all the comments. It's hard to not have it affect you in some way. And then it becomes the question of like, okay, is that person being brave by saying something that from their perspective, I went through an experience, I'm doing something, I'm building something, and I think if I share this, it could be inspiring to other people.
Yeah,
that's being brave. Like that's I'm saying something that really most people would keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's not happening right to most people because nowadays most people just say everything they want on the internet, and it's like I don't care how you eat your sandwich. Like stop it already, or how you put your makeup on, and so on. Fine, but then there's a question of like, are they just trying to heal themselves? Are they broken and they're using this as like their therapy? Like, because if they post something about some experience they had that they couldn't talk to their friends about, or they didn't get the answer they want from their friends or family, so they put it out into the world, and now people are like, you go girl, or go way to go man, like that's so cool and you're amazing, and they're like they're trying to fix themselves. Well, that is what they sound like. That's what those people sound like in their underwear, in their parents' basement. That's what they sound like. You go, man. Like what? Like that's what it is. So, but people hear those things and see those things, and they're like, okay, I'm on the right track. Or you could fucking knock them really off their socks if they get like, who the hell are you? And what do you think you're doing? And your hair's not that cool or whatever. Not that I've ever gotten that comment, by the way. But regardless, I'm just saying, like, it's a question, right? Like, it's a question of like, do you put yourself out there without thinking that through a little bit? I don't know. I mean, it's I'm not really sure.
I think it happens all over the place. Like I'm personally, I'm not out there working out my problems on the internet. I definitely believe in therapy.
Sure.
Now I'm using my Chat GPT and my Claude.
Maud, Maud, Maud,
We've
Maud the
renamed
therapist.
we've renamed Claude Mod for myself. Anyway,
We haven't
you
come up
know,
with a name for mine yet. Still
no.
not there.
But the point is like everyone should just do themselves. Like that's really what I think. Like, if you're making a living off of sharing your expertise on the internet and other people are really getting value from that, go you, you know? Um, for me as an artist, I feel that I'm getting more comfortable making videos that are just me being me and talking about what I'm going to do in a day and why I'm going to paint a painting and the things that I go out in the world to see to get inspired.
Okay, so
Because
why? Why do
because
you do that?
I'm doing that because I am trying to let the world know that I'm an artist and let them get to know me because as the artist, I think it's really kind of interesting. Like, let's say you like an artist. I think it's cool to know things about the artist. And it, if I were buying art, which I'm not right now, because I make so much art, but I love to look at other artists' work and support them in any way I can. Um, but I think it's interesting to know about that artist. And so that's why I'm doing that, because I think if someone likes who I am and they like the paintings that I make and the way I think that that's good for the art that I create and for my role as an artist.
So that's part of
So,
your overall branding of like the belief that like it's not just the art because they're buying in a way they're buying a piece of you, right? Like it's
yes.
your creation. So not
Yeah.
that when you buy clothing it's not, but it's different. Like when because a painting is an individual thing, it's a singular thing. I mean, yes, you can make prints, and yes, we've made some prints on some of your things, but even that's limited. Like if
Mhm.
someone buys one of your paintings, whether it's a smaller painting or a really large painting, and it's decent amount of money, they're not just buying that painting, right? They're buying a piece of you. So what I'm hearing, which I know we've talked about this, but just for everybody else to kind of get it too, it's like you're looking at that's like, okay, well, they're not just buying that painting. They want to know the person behind the painting, a little bit of my inspiration, a little bit of my work process, and that will either get them to really love the painting or really not love it at all or not like me at all. And that's the risk I'm willing to take. But I feel the better they know me and the better they know what I put into every piece of work that I do, there's going to be a deeper connection. And I know with you specifically, I know a fair amount of artists. I don't know that they all think this way. I know a few that think this way, but you in particular are like, you really get a lot of joy. A sale is a sale. It's nice, but you get a lot of joy of somebody having a piece that you really love in their home, bringing them joy or giving them inspiration. Like that's the win for you. The fact that it's in someone else's home, like not just sitting in our apartment or in the house or wherever it is, that and I think from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing as I've seen you evolve, because I remember when you were like, I don't want to do these videos. I don't want to talk about this stuff. I don't want to be on camera. I remember how tense you used to get. You'd be like, okay, don't come near me. I'm going to be recording. I'm shutting the door. I'm like, okay, well, it's like 12 degrees outside, but sure, I'll do my best to stay in the corner. Like, it's, it's fine, but you've gotten much more comfortable, even like dancing a little bit
Oh,
on
yes.
camera. Yeah, there's that. But, I get that. So it's part of it. So sorry, I'm being very long-winded here. It's hot out. Um, that it's you're not doing it for the like, hey everybody, look at me, listen to me, I'm so amazing, and please like me. That's not why you're doing it. You're doing it almost like as an attachment to the work that you do, which is like a kind of, it's almost like it's a gift. It's almost like you're giving something, which that sounds a little weird when you think about like, yeah, my posts on social media are gifts to the world. Should put that on your business card. Content creator, you're welcome. Um, but that's what I get from you. Like, it's like for me, like I don't. No, it's not. No.
You're like, I got nothing.
I got nothing. I'm nothing. I know I have to start posting more, and I know I have to start talking more. I'm doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, doing this once a week is already all the talking I want to do. I don't know how much more I can talk. But you know what? Because I don't see it that way. Like, I get that if someone hires us or invests in something we're doing or whatever it is, I realize that it's because of me, partially at least. Like, I don't have the ego to be like, it's all about me and they're doing. I get that. If they don't like me, if they don't believe in me, they're not writing a check. They're just not. Like, I get that part. So I understand that part. But it's different as an artist, I think. And whether it's an artist like you are, even a musician or an actor, like, it's different, right?
Well, like, here's an example. Like, I have my favorite artists. I have the artists that have inspired me. And believe me, there's new ones all the time because there's so many amazing artists out in the world as we speak.
Not as good as you. Not as good as you.
So many amazing artists that
Not as good as you.
may never even be known by anybody. I mean, that's the reality.
That's
but
the
here's
reality,
what I
yeah.
want. Here's what I want to say though. Like, today, social media has changed everything. And like, if you don't think that you don't have to get on this in some way, shape, or form to do the thing that you want to do, and if it's your own thing, you're crazy, because you just do. That's the way it is. And the second thing is, like, if Helen Frankenthaler or Jackson Pollock or Willem de Kooning, if there was social media then, and I could get to watch them and hear what they like and hear what they do and see what they're wearing on a particular day or what their studio, I mean, I would be glued to that. So, like, I think that this is such a not just me, but like, it's a gift to be able to witness this magic that we create.
You're getting
I'm going to get
emotional.
all, I am.
You're getting a little verklempt. It's okay. Whenever you talk
But-
about those people, you get verklempt. I get it.
Well, I
I
think
get
it's
it. I
just-
get it.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, look, prior to social media, the way we as the fans and the consumers learned about people was either it was a newspaper, which was not much, a big magazine, like if it's an artist in an art magazine, if you're a singer,
Yeah.
in Billboard, or if you're a filmmaker in
Or
Variety,
MTV Cribs or whatever.
well, when that
you know?
when that came out, right? That was
Yeah,
the next
right,
that was the next
right.
evolution of that, right? Like and then, but prior, if you think about like Pollock, right? What do we know about Pollock or
Well-
Frankenthaler? We
well,
know
just
about
as-
a book, right? We know somebody wrote a book or somebody did a documentary, right? That was
Well-
how we learned about them in the past.
It was
Now it's
Life
different.
magazine. It was Life magazine.
Sure,
And they
that's
did an
before.
article, and it was like in the 50s. That was like
Right,
the
that's a long
first
time ago.
time.
Right, that's a long
that
time
something
ago.
like that hit the American public's eyes. And they were like, what the fuck is this?
Sure.
And it
But you know what I'm saying,
exploded.
right? Like it
Yeah.
had to be it was very limited,
Mhm.
right? So if, for example, and who was in Life? Pollock or Frankenthaler?
Pollock, Jackson Pollock. No,
Okay,
Helen
so if-
Frankenthaler, not.
All right. So
She was a woman.
all right. Let's not go there right now. Let's
Yeah.
just stay focused.
I know.
Stay on the highway, darling. Stay on the highway. So what I'm saying is somebody or some group of people decided that Pollock was worthy of Life magazine. Insert magazine here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very easily could have been not. Could have been that those
Yeah.
people are like, we think his stuff is shit. We're not interested in that. We're gonna profile John Cocktoston over here, and that's the end of it. And that's it. Whereas
I
with
know.
social media, you do have that opportunity. You do have that chance that, look, you could, I'm going to take you out of the equation because I don't want to jinx anything. So an artist that we know, right? Let's say an artist that we know that's an up and coming, that we think is talented, that we look at their work and are like, wow, they are really good. Like, they really have something. And they could post something with a very limited following on Instagram or on TikTok, on Facebook, or even on LinkedIn, or wherever they want to go, or on X even, right? They could go and post that, and with their 500 followers, it doesn't matter. Some famous person or some critic or somebody could look at that and say, holy shit, this person's good. And they could turn the switch on. All of a sudden, this person, now all of a sudden, people want to know who that person is. That was not possible before. That
Right.
was not possible before. And I
Mhm.
think that is the upside of social media. We obviously know there's a huge downside of it too.
Mhm.
But, I think this is also where people have to really, they have to think about, what they're giving, right? Like they're giving of themselves. They're removing levels of privacy that may be ingrained in them from growing up, like, closing the door when they get changed or whatever the things they do at home. It's changing.
Mm.
It's a big change. And I think if they're not prepared for what may come, left or right, I think that's where it can get a little icky for people. It could be hard. It can really break.
Oh, sure. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I know I have a pretty strong sense of self, and yeah, there were definitely lots of times that I felt crushed by people that I didn't expect to be so mean
Yeah.
and whatever, for sure. Yeah.
There's some mean people out there. There's some really mean people out there. There are people that say some really nasty things that, I don't. That's not me. I don't get that. So, but people are like that, and whether it's jealousy, whether it's, I don't know. I think it's an unfortunate thing, but look, I think there's also becomes the question of like, okay, once you start, how do you create boundaries? Like, how do you determine, okay, this is off limits? Like, I'm willing to, for example, I'm willing to go through my morning routine with you. I'm willing to go through how I process things. This really bad thing happened. I want to share it with you that this is how I dealt with it, and maybe you can learn from it. But this part of me is off limits. It's fine to say, okay, I'm going to talk about this thing. I'm going to share my morning. I'm going to share why I picked this outfit today, all that kind of stuff. But this part of me, no. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. I will not bring this into the conversation. And I think what can get tricky is sometimes people will look, they'll ask, they'll jump in and be like, hey, what do you think about this thing? And they try to trick you into it. There's using social media or building in public where you're just doing your little thing. You're not looking for like growth, or you're not looking for this, whatever. You're just this is what I have. I'm whatever. Then there's like, okay, I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to really do
Yeah.
something. If you're doing that, you have to have those thoughts before, which you have done very well. You think through, I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to do this sort of thing. I'm not going to do this sort of thing. And you just go, and it's very natural because it's you. And I think that's very, very smart that you do that. It's not that you haven't made mistakes along the way, but you've learned from them because you're really smart. But
I'm also not really trying to grow. Like I'm not, I do it consistently, but I don't do the proper things to grow my account. I don't.
Sure, but you are looking.
I do what feels right for me, and I honestly don't take the advice of the program to do those things because I don't care that much.
But you care.
I care enough to do it.
You care much, not that much. You care much, not that much, right? Okay.
Yes.
Fine. So I get that. But because you do care, because there is ultimately a goal. I mean, the goal naturally is, whether it was have some fun today, when we post about have some fun today, there's a reason you're posting about that. There's a reason you post about there are some goals. You're not looking to have social media make you a billionaire. Like, you're not looking like to do this, that, whatever. You're looking to do the stuff you do to get it out to the universe and do good and all that sort of stuff. I get that part. What I'm saying is that because of that, there's a thought process that you do research, you think about it, you analyze it. What I'm saying is that if you're going to do in that thing, for someone
Yes.
else, you have to do the same things. Not exactly what you did, but you have to have that concept of, I'm going to think this through, I'm going to be, etc. You can't have both. You can't say, I'm not going to think it through. I want all these good things to happen, but I don't want anything to give me pushback or criticism. Like, that just doesn't work.
Right. You have to be prepared.
You have to be prepared. If you
the
can't be
game.
like, you have to be prepared. You can't be like, I'm going to eat ice cream all day, every day. I'm not going to work out ever. And I refuse to allow my body to get fat at the same time. That's not how this works. It just doesn't work. You got to pick something and you got to change things up. It's really hot. I'm thinking about ice cream. I'm sorry. But anyway, point is, there has to be that sort of thing. And I think if you don't have that, then you also have to you got to take your licks.
Yeah.
Then you got to take it. And if it's not working for you, you can move on. It's okay. Move on. But I think it's important. I don't know. I mean, you have also different experiences with different people that have done it and gotten frustrated and have come to you for advice and stuff like that. I mean, maybe you can share, I don't know, something that you feel would be helpful in that regard, because I'm not the one posting.
I mean, for someone who wants to get into the whole social media thing now, because I have seen that a lot, people who are just kind of going along on their social media just to see what people are doing, kind of looking, not really participating. Now I've seen the shift of these people with these new accounts. It's a lot of people, I think, on TikTok who think that they can make money as influencers, and I get it. There are people making a lot of money doing that. Personally, I don't want to deal with that. So like every time anyone reaches out to me, I just don't want to do that. I got enough stuff to do that, I don't want to be.
We're R-rated. We're R-rated. Don't worry.
Well, I don't want to be like, saying, oh, I'm using this makeup product, or I just don't want to be doing that, unless it's something I really like, actually.
Yeah, you would do it. You would do it if you would like insert brand here,
but like,
in case you're listening, sponsor.
You start getting hit up by like, oh, do this and we can start paying you. And I just haven't gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not the best person to advise around this because I don't want to deal with that. But if, seeing people getting onto social media to use it as a source of income, I think you better be studying like the do's and don'ts. You can't just go into that blindly because it's confusing. It's changing all the time. And there are a lot of do's and don'ts. So if that were me, that's how I would be going about that. For me, I just do what feels right for me. Yeah. I don't really follow anybody's rule book.
Right. Yeah.
Period.
That's clear. Yeah. No, I can attest to that, boys and girls. I can definitely attest to that. What about not necessarily trolls, but what about like dealing? I mean, you're really responsive to people. I mean, I think even more than you have to be. But what are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, if you post something and someone comments, you feel like you want to let them know, right? Like, you feel like you want to you want to have like not necessarily have a conversation, but you want to like show them that you appreciate it. Like, but what are the
thank
boundaries
you
around that? Yeah, what are the boundaries around that?
Well, look, if someone comments nicely on a post, I'll acknowledge it. I don't like it when I comment on somebody else's stuff and they ignore it. I think it's rude. I think this is about like an ecosystem of support. That's how I look at social media. Like, this is what I'm doing, like it if you like it, that's how I believe people should kind of respond to stimuli in life. Same way I do if I like somebody else's stuff or make a comment. I do like a little bit of engagement because I like to engage with things that I like, and that's how you kind of help the algorithm as well. But creepy comments, you'll get blocked.
That's
any type of inappropriate behavior whatsoever, you will be blocked. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty clear and clean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little tricky. I mean, when people try to engage with you and they either get creepy or they, Yeah, or they try to cross lines, and it's unfortunate.
Honestly, it really hasn't happened that much in a
That's happened a
while,
while.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's happened a while. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I can't
it
even
is.
really remember anything
It's because
in
of the
recent
videos that we
years.
do together, and they know they better watch it.
You're a bruiser.
Okay, okay. You're damn right I am. Yeah, just don't let's not anybody out there don't get any smart ideas. Yeah. Uh, I'm raring to go. It's hot. I'm raring to go.
Apparently, better get that boy some ice cream.
But, um, yeah, yeah. I that's a good idea. Actually, I think we should get that boy some ice cream. Yeah. I mean, do you feel that like when you're putting yourself out there, like you're doing these things, are you thinking like, okay, I think this thing is going to resonate? Like, are you looking? Trying to think of the right way to explain this. Like, it's not intimacy per se, but like, are you thinking, I've heard people talk about this, or I know friends of mine, or I've seen people as well. Like, I think I should share this bit of information or this image that I saw or this thing because I think people want to hear this, and I think they want to hear it from me. Like, do you think of like the connection part? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just I'm
Yeah.
posting about this to share. I want you to know who I am. Like, no, I feel I'm going to touch somebody with this. That's different than a promotion, right? Like,
Yeah,
do
no.
you think through that? Like, do you think there's
I mean,
something, do you think there's something to that?
Yeah, I do. I did it today. When I'm here in Pennsylvania by myself, I make a lot of content. When I feel it has to feel natural, because I'm thinking a lot. What I do as an artist is very mental. It's more mental than physical. And I'm always thinking about, why I'm doing something, and I'm running through it in my head. And so I am involved enough with, social media, Threads and Substack and LinkedIn and obviously Facebook and Instagram. And it's like this growing spider web, but everyone is nuanced differently. And I'm on a lot of different things for artists and art and design. And you kind of touch on each other's pain points. It's like, the things that are being circulated in the messages. And if it feels right to me and I'm thinking it, then I think, okay, I'm going to share this. And I did it several times today in my videos I was making. And I think in the back of my head, I think, okay, well, this one could appeal, and people could hear this. And maybe it'll get, I think the thing that I do is I think that I give other people permission. I'm giving them permission to not, you may do it now, but like by me doing it, I think it allows other people subconsciously to think, well, I could do that too.
And
that's the permission angle that I think I have given that to people through the way I live.
You've mentioned that before, that people like friends of yours, or maybe not like good friends, but people you're connected with or that know you or follow you over the years. You've mentioned that how like people will reach out, like, I saw that post you did, and it made me feel like I can share my story now, or like I can talk about this thing. Like, whereas before that, they didn't feel that. They didn't feel that way about themselves. They didn't have the confidence to do it. And by you doing it, you kind of inspired them to do that, right? Like you've mentioned that before.
Yeah. I mean, I think for a long time when I first started with social media, I was sharing things very, very personally and very, very vulnerably. And I think that really threw a lot of people off, and they felt very uncomfortable around that. But I have always been that person. I was that person, 40 years ago when I was at Penn State. I would hear that exact same thing from people. You're so open-minded. That's just who I am. And
Well,
I think
open-minded and open, it's two different things. Well, I think you are open-minded in many ways, yes.
I am open-minded, but I'm also
But you're also open. Yeah,
to me,
I think you're right.
They're similar. And I just think that makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And especially when social media was so new and it like spread out to thousands and then tens of thousands and hundreds, like it was not a scope that people like could understand how you could spread your visibility globally. Like that is just so hard for so many people to understand. And I did understand that, and I was okay with that. But then when you see the reaction from people that you thought were your friends or, that were close to you, whether they're family or, just, you know, acquaintances, it definitely affected me. It definitely affected me. It felt like someone, slapped me on the wrist and was trying to like change something about, which is something that's so essential to who I am. And so I struggled with that, but really this medium is here and, you just have to use it in a way that it feels comfortable for you and however you want to be authentic and share that authenticity is really an individual thing.
Yeah. That's it's interesting. I mean, it's I'm listening to you talk about it and thinking like, we've seen like, over the past number of years, families splitting and friendships splitting over various things that are now in the open, right? People are talking about publicly about things. I'm not going to get into the politics. We know this is a reality of the world we're living in right now. And, if you think about it, there was a time before that we just kind of kept a lot inside. Even you knew somebody for 10 years, you hung out with them all the time. There's a lot of things you just didn't know because there's certain things you just don't talk about, right?
Yeah.
And I think with social media, people just throw it out there. And I wonder if, granted we're in this like middle of all of this, but if at some point being that open, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to come back full circle and people are going to start being more quiet and keep things inside, or the bonding and the connecting with people is going to be even deeper because it's very open. It's very clear who you are. It's very clear what you like. It's very, and either I don't
that's a
like
good point.
that thing. I don't like that thing that you like, but I like that you do. And I think it's cool or I admire that about you. So it's like, we don't agree on this, but it's still cool because I like all these other things. Like, I wonder where that goes because you think about it, like, I mean, yes, I do my best to meet in person with as many people as I can whenever I get the opportunity. For sure. I like that. Definitely. But there's tons of people that I have met over the years because I am active on social that I have good relationships with. Like, I do know a lot about them. There's some that I don't know that much about, but I really know what they think. I know what they feel. I know that one guy, like, he has no plastic in his entire house. Like, he one day decided no plastic, everything, jars, glass, everything. Like, they got rid of all plastic at all cost, whatever they could do. He's like, look, sometimes we buy something in the store. There's nothing we can do, but I avoid it any way, shape, or form. I actually went to the store the other day, hilariously, talking about plastic. I don't know why. I'm just going all over the place today. I went to Whole Foods to get peanut butter from the peanut butter machine. Oh my!
Don't tell me it was broken again.
Thank the good Lord, it was not. So, but I tell you, it was very, very interesting, especially in a place like Whole Foods. I'm not going to get into it, but you do run into a fair share of people in places like Whole Foods. Nothing against Whole Foods. You do run into some of these places where the people in there can be very la 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 and go hug a tree, and they can be rude and whatever. I ran into back-to-back two. Like, this guy was at the peanut butter machine with a jar. He brought his own glass, like, what are those glass jar?
Like a mason jar.
Mason jar. He had one of those, and he was starting, and I went there just to get a container, and they didn't even have the right container, and he was like, hey, do you want to use this? And I was like, no, go ahead. He's like, no, I'm going to be a while. He's like, you better go in. I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, man, you're good. My favorite thing, you're good. Absolute favorite. Please don't say that to me. Just please. Anyway, so he let me go, which was lovely that he did. I went in there, I did my thing, and it went whatever, did that thing. It came there, I got my peanut butter, I put the top on, and then I went to turn, and there was a girl, like, right there who was about to go to get her container. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And she said,
you're good.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So I had two goods a boy good and a girl good, but I got my peanut butter. I don't know why I'm telling you this story.
I don't know why either.
Well, because I know, but because of the glass. And the glass,
Yeah,
from, the
okay.
glass from the guy in Germany reminded me about this kid in New York. But point being, I think that we can form bonds with people because of their openness online, because of what they're posting about, what they're talking about, what they're thinking. It can intrigue you enough to want to get to know that person better. And sometimes that doesn't work out because sometimes people are just on social, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, and they don't want, that's it. They don't want to talk to you. So you can message them and they don't ever reply. That's fine. And then there's others where they're like, I want more. You know, I saw your post. I appreciate you reaching out. I'd like to get to know you better. And sometimes that turns into something, business or friendship or whatever. And sometimes it's like, okay, I'm good. I know who you are. You're on the list. Congratulations. We don't need to talk unless something important comes up. And I think that's okay too.
I do too.
Yeah.
I've come to realize, and it's taken a long time, that you can still like people who think differently than you. And you can actually even love them. And I think that we need to understand that not every person in your life has to think exactly the way you do about everything, period.
I agree to a point, but I agree. In general,
I'm sure there are certain things that are...
Generally speaking, I agree, but there's certain lines.
Deal breakers,
exactly,
I'm sure.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think generally
I'm not saying,
Generally speaking, I do agree. I do agree.
Like, I'm like, you don't want to be a I couldn't really be friends with someone who is a cannibal, you know?
You know, that's not the first time you've mentioned that. This cannibal thing with you, we're going to dig deep at some point, not on the podcast. Not on the podcast.
Yes.
At some point, we're going to dig into this
talk
cannibal
about it
thing.
anymore.
Well, you brought it up. So anyway,
that's just one of the worst things that I could think of. That's
that's pretty much up there. Yeah. So, I guess like to kind of wrap it all up, I would just say, because this could get ugly really fast. I think just generally speaking, I think it's just good if whatever it is, whether you're building friendships, whether you're building your resume, whether you're building a business, whatever you're working on, whatever you're doing, and you're looking to move things forward, just kind of think a little bit, like think before you walk, think before you post. I just think it's a smart thing. Like, you don't get to the street corner, close your eyes, and then decide whether you're going to cross the street or not. Like, it's just not smart. And I just think it through a little bit. And yes, you can dip your toe and see how it is, and then you can pull back and then you can go again. But I just think putting a little bit of thought into it really goes a long way. And it's not that you shouldn't let the mistakes be out there. I think that's fine too. Like, hey, this was a mistake. I think that's definitely cool. But just think it through and be prepared for where it might land, and then go for it. And I wish you the best. Any words of wisdom from your side? Or
I think you hit it on the nail. But be authentic, be true to yourself. Don't do anything that feels unnatural in terms of what you share and what you're trying to conjure up to share. Yeah. Keep it real.